Hello friends, and welcome to whatever computer or phone you're happening to see this on. I'm Leigh Brown, and I'm a realtor with One Community Real Estate in Concord. And I was sitting here in my living room working on some presentations and looking at some ways that I can make real estate better for my company and for my clients. And I saw yet another news article come across my screen talking about the problems that the realtors are facing right now. And it wasn't actually anything flattering, because if you have not been paying attention, the alphabet agencies in Washington, D.C., and I'm leaving it at that because I'm sure they would like to subpoena me. And I kind of wish they would, because I would love to give some information to the people who are working in the bureaucracies in D.C. who want to dismantle real estate. And y'all, this is not hyperbole. This is picking up steam, and this is what you need to understand about real estate. Frankly, it all revolves around the MLS. Now, for years and years and years, people join real estate and they go and join the MLS for no other reason than that they were told to. Their broker said, hey, you're going to have to go join the MLS. And so an agent pays several $100s, goes through orientation, gets a login, and says, hey, I got access. So they don't really understand what it is, which means that if you happen to be a normal person who's not a realtor watching this stream, hey friends, then you might not know what it is either. In fact, when you hire a realtor, you're hiring them to put your house in the MLS. Well, let me break it down for you. MLS is a multiple listing service. Do you know what it is though? It's not just data. It's not just bedrooms and bathrooms and acreage and little remarks about a house and some photos, which is what it looks like on the surface. We've got to look beyond the surface, and frankly, you and the public need to be educated, and you realtors, this is your job. The MLS looks like data points, and several years ago, of course, as the internet has grown, real estate people have gotten really savvy about it. And when somebody trusts us with representing them on selling a house, they want us to put it out into the public as many places as we can. And that's what we have done. That's a process called syndication. And so when syndication is rolling around out there, your house, when you choose to list it with me, is going to be found everywhere. But that's not the MLS. All of these websites that carry your house are not the MLS. That's the coolest thing about it. When a realtor joins this system, you know what they're joining? They're joining a system which is actually one of the purest free markets on the planet, and one of the last ones, if we're honest about it. Because as a realtor, when I belong to the MLS, I have signed an agreement to publish my listings that my sellers have trusted me with the entire marketplace. That means all members of that MLS. So yes, they're going to see the data points, but the thing about the MLS is this: it is an agreement to cooperate with each other. Think about this. There's nothing else on the planet where professionals choose to cooperate with each other in a fair and free market. And then there's compensation that happens. The members agree to compensate one another. In fact, you'll find that really smart realtors would tell you all day long they don't care for dual agency, which is one agent representing buyer and seller, because that is going to wind up being a conflict of interest almost all of the time. And don't argue with me, because I'm right on this. And so in the MLS, I can let my seller's house be visible to every buyer in a marketplace. Now, why does this matter? Let me give you a couple of reasons why this matters. First of all, statistically, I, as your realtor in the Concord and Charlotte market, do not have the time nor the bandwidth nor the inclination to work with every buyer in the marketplace. And frankly, if you're my seller client, you don't want me to. You would rather I focus on how I can best represent your needs in this transaction. I, though, would love to have every agent in this marketplace who has a buyer that they are working with professionally bring that buyer to this house. It is a very transparent marketplace. It is beautiful. So I want you to think about this. If you're wondering why this is under attack, you got me, because the alphabet agency, I'm just going to call them Voldemort, because if I say them out loud, apparently that means they're going to spy on my devices, thinks that there's something underhanded about a buyer being represented by an agent going to someone's listing. Well, let me tell y'all something. The market that we're in right now has actually exposed why you need a buyer agent more than you ever have. Almost every house when it hits the market, because we have just such a low level of inventory as compared to demand. If we have 16 offers on a listing, which is what I had to deal with on Monday, if you are a buyer who doesn't have an agent, you don't really have have a chance in the world of winning, because you won't have anybody who can professionally update you on the market and give you advice on how to win. And that is really important when somebody's trying to get the perfect hedge against inflation, which is owning residential real estate. If you are a renter, I still love you because I'm an investor, but rents go up and they continue to escalate as the cost of owning things goes up. If you own that property and you have a 30-year mortgage, your house payment will stay put. How awesome is that? And you know what? It's realtors who have worked their batucuses off to make sure that we make fair housing come to life, so that every neighbor in every zip code would know about the beauties of owning real estate. And it's not about realtors being used car salesmen. It's about realtors understanding that without home ownership, a lot of folks will never, ever, ever get a leg up in life. We live to give you a leg up in life. And so say you're that buyer who has worked your tail off, got your credit score up, and you are qualified and ready to roll. Your agent then is going to look in the multiple listing service to find you anything that's out there that might possibly be of interest to you. Without the multiple listing service, how will you find the house? Think about this. If you remove the system, which is a fair marketplace, how do you find it? Do you go to 1,000 different websites? Well, guess what? All of those websites are feeding off of the Realtors multiple listing service. But then say you find it online. How are you going to get information on it? You ever tried to reach out to Amazon or Spectrum or, I don't know, any big company for customer service? Good luck. But you want to try and call a realtor? You just put on Facebook, I need a realtor. You will have your phone ringing off the hook and a million people at your beck and call looking to help you get into a property. And why? Because they're members of the multiple listing service, and they can then go in and see what every one of their colleagues has put on the market, and they have a fair chance at it. But I got to tell y'all something else that is wild about this that you might not know. It didn't always used to be in our MLS marketplace. It wasn't always free and fair. In the past, not all members had access to everybody's listings. That's right. If you are new to real estate, say within the last 30 to 40 years, okay? Look, there's people that have been in this business a long time, and they are a wealth of knowledge. They've been educating me. I didn't know this, and I've been in real estate full-time for 22 years. When the MLS was in existence 40, 50 years ago, there was not a blanket offer of cooperation. There was not blanket offer of compensation so that any member would know they would be fairly and duly compensated for sharing and showing that property and then bringing an offer that was acceptable to the seller. You know who was getting cut out? Women brokers were being cut out. Minority brokers were cut out. And so you had a system that was picking and choosing which agents could see which properties and which ones would get compensated. And that's crazy to me. I don't understand it at all. It seems to me that you would always want to compensate and cooperate with everybody because life is easier that way. But if you go back a few decades, it wasn't seen that way. And one thing I absolutely love about realtors, when we see things that aren't an equal footing, we dig in and roll our sleeves up and make it better. So yes, we did not do things well 40 and 50 years ago, and then we had leaders in the decades after that said we're going to fix it, and they have. And so now the MLS is truly the only fair and free marketplace where you can join as a member with a license and with your several $100s, and now you can see every house on the market. The government wants to dismantle this. The government wants to make the MLS a regulated utility, and it's not a utility. It is an agreement to cooperate and compensate people when they do their hard work. Now, if you don't like the system as we have it, as realtors, we're always welcome to suggestions about what system would make better sense. Now, as an instructor, I've had the chance to travel all over the world. I have had the chance to be in countries where real estate is operated much differently than it is here in the best country on earth, the United States. And I go to places such as Spain, where you do not need a license to sell real estate. You can just hop off the plane and sell a property, and there's no MLS. But where are you going to find one? You go right around town and look for signs on balconies. That seems all right, but it does not seem like a really transparent and open marketplace. You could go to places like Argentina, where the government taxes at such a level that there's a white market and a blue market, and the numbers are all over the place, and it all depends on what people think you could pay as to how much you think the price is, and then you're trying to to find other properties on the market because there's not an easy database to go see. Y'all, it's crazy. We have the best system on earth, and as realtors, I'm telling you, the legal teams at the National Association of Realtors are doing their level best to educate the bureaucrats and stop them from ruining real estate. You're going to have to do your piece too. If you're a realtor and you see this, you need to tell your clients that the MLS is a system whereby we get to cooperate with all members and compensate as our business model determines. And also that MLS is our opportunity to advertise our seller's property to all agents in the marketplace. And we don't advertise it to certain agents in this firm and that firm, and we don't advertise it to agents of this gender and that gender and this color and that color. We advertise our listings to all members of the MLS. And then it gets put all over the internet so that buyers of every ilk can find it and then call their agent and get some professional guidance on how to win it. That's what the MLS is. And why do you have to care? Because friends, I'm going to tell you one more time, the alphabet agencies want to dismantle this. They want to get rid of buyer agents, the people who look out to protect you as consumer watchdogs. Well, when I met those people, I don't know that they've bought a house in the last 35 or 40 years. Their information is not nearly as current as your local realtor that you love and cherish. So when you have questions or you see these nasty articles rolling around the internet, before you give any credence to it, call your local realtor, ask them what they see on the ground, and ask them what they're going to do to sell your house. Because the most powerful marketing any realtor can ever do is to advertise your property to other professionals in the marketplace, because that's going to mean you are seen by all of the people who have buyers, and they're going to do their level best to bring you a real offer. And friends, this matters. I will tell you that if we lose our system and our free marketplace, you're going to lose a lot of realtors. And if you lose realtors, that might sound okay because they're not all created equal, and I'm not disputing that point. I will say that there are realtors who need to have the opportunity to get better educated, and maybe if you know one of them, you should point them to a program such as Commitment to Excellence where they can get better. But in the meantime, we have to remember that realtors are everywhere. We have almost 1.6 million realtors in the country. You know what that means? We have realtors in every zip code, and we're serving every price point and every neighbor. We serve everything from single wides to condos to waterfront luxury houses. And only in the multiple listing service can every single realtor log in and see all of those properties, from the single wides to the condos to the waterfront luxury. And that means you as a consumer have access to the entire marketplace. It is efficient, it is fair, and it is transparent. And I am so proud to be a realtor, and I'm so proud to serve clients every single day in figuring out what they can do to have their piece of the American dream. And they get to define what that American dream looks like, and my job is to help them navigate it. When you look at systems that want to be dismantling us and agencies that don't like realtors, you have to ask yourself why. Perhaps those bureaucracies don't like us because we are 1.6 million entrepreneurs in every zip code and working with every neighbor, and we vote. Maybe they want to dismantle us because we are just too strong. Well, that means we have to get stronger, friends. And this means you have to be a better advocate for what you do. Stand tall, stand proud, define what we are doing, make sure that every buyer and seller and the public with whom you have contact, make sure that they know that we are proud to belong to a system that is absolutely transparent, fair, and free, and that we are making sure that realtors are able to all have access to the marketplace and thereby their buyers. And we do not want to go backwards to a system where people get to pick and choose with whom they work, where buyers don't have access to all the properties, and we refuse to take any steps backward in fair housing. Because if the MLS is attacked by these bureaucrats, I want you to understand this. It is your workforce housing and those who are seeking their first property which are going to be the most impacted, because they don't have bucket loads of cash like the top 1% do. Because let's be honest, the top 1% can work their way around any system, and we're delighted to help those folks too. But we all know that the neighbors that need our help the most are at the lower end of the socioeconomic scale quite often, and it's real estate that helps them take a rung up. And I'll be beyond brown if I'm going to see our system, which has done more to promote fair housing than anything else on the planet, get taken down. You, friends, better fight the good fight too. And when you see these articles, fight back, write letters to the editor, make sure that you put in the comment section that we as realtors do not scam or hurt the public. We are transparent, open, and fair, and we live to make sure that real estate goes on and that in America we protect private property rights, and we're not stopping and not letting anybody get in our way of protecting our neighbors' rights. Friends, we have work to do. If you have questions about any of this, you need more information on the MLS and how to know if your house is listed on it. If you need help finding a realtor, if you need help in Concord and you want me to be your realtor, all of those things, hit me up in the comments, send me a message. Most importantly though, subscribe to this channel, tell a friend, hit share, hit bookmark, watch it again, because we're going to have to talk about these things right out loud. This is not up to lawyers. This is up to us. I'll see you next time.